You know, with all the technology and stuff we have today, you can just get lost in taking in information. We're meant to take in information, but you find yourself sitting around and not moving your body, and it can really affect your health. It's kind of like brushing your teeth. You take care of the little things. You make it a habit of making your bed. You take care of the little things every single day, get in the habit of those things. Get in the habit of, if you can't get out and hike like this, at least get out in the yard, sit under a tree. Take in the smells of the trees around you, the grass. Right now I got my dogs with me and they are absolutely taking in every smell around there, checking out the chipmunks. I'm here on the Continental Divide Trail. I may not be able to hike all the way from Canada to Mexico, but you know what? I can do one thing. I can hike a few miles. I can hike 10 or 12 miles. Probably won't today because I left my jacket down in the truck, and you get up here on top of the mountain and the temperature can really have some big swings. But as I'm walking along up here, man, the spruce trees are so vibrant and smell. You got the skunk cabbage, all the flowers. Your sensories take in all of the wildflowers along the way and just everything along the path. It's probably been 4 years now that I got rid of my TV. Don't have a TV in the house. I don't listen to the radio. I'll listen to some sermons, different ones on YouTube, while I'm in the track hoe. When I'm in work every day, a lot of times I'm in that track hoe for 8-10 hours a day, and you're not moving anything but your hands. And if you don't get out and move your body, it will deteriorate. Whenever I broke my back, June 10th, 2019, the week prior to that, if you looked at my phone, I was walking 7 miles a day. There were some days that I walked 7.5 miles, some days 6. Still, that's a lot of walking, and I was working a full-time job. But I don't know, there's a trail there we may take. I am so thankful that I was in that shape, because when I broke my back, if I had not been in that shape, man, it would have been harder to recover. And my mind was good because I had been out in nature and hiking that much and seeing so much. You look at my phone, ooh, and I was going from 7 miles a day to 0 miles a day, 0 feet a day for a couple of weeks, bedridden. And it gives you time to think about what is important in your life. It gave me time to sit and think about all the things that I wish I'd done. It opened up my heart to be kinder. It opened up my heart to be more giving, because you just don't have that many Saturdays on this earth. You don't have that many interactions with other people. And if you have an interaction with somebody and you ruin their day, it'll live with you for the rest of your life. Those times that I find the most joy in is whenever I'm giving to somebody, whenever I either give kind words or just see somebody's face light up because they're having a bad day and you help them out. We're stewards of everything. That's something I learned growing up on the ranch. You can live to be 100 years old. You're not going to hang on to this land. Somebody else will have it after you. It doesn't matter how many no trespassing signs you put up. One of these days you're going to pass on or be bedridden and not able to do anything. The rock has a lot of iron in it. I'm always looking for mineralization, signs of gold, silver. Yeah, I never struck it rich, but I have found some pretty good silver deposits, some gold. And it's a lot of fun. More than anything, I just like getting out here and seeing how God created everything. But like I was saying, you're not going to hang on to this earth, even if you live to be 100 years old. What are you doing with it? You know, one time I was up deer hunting on a ranch that we had, and my dogs, I found these foot tracks in the sand, or in the snow, and my dogs took off and followed these people tracks, and whenever they stumbled on the old guy and his boy, they bait him up. They were trespassing deer hunting, and he started trying to protect himself, you know, lie about where he thought he was and everything. I said, don't worry about it, I ain't mad at you. Where are you from? He told me he was from a little town just down, not too far away, which I consider that to be my neighbor, even though he lived 20 miles away. And I said, I understand the deal. You don't have a place to hunt. But I said the proper way to go about it would be to ask permission. And so he asked me on the spot, he said, well, if we see something this evening, can we hunt? I said, yeah, we got other paying hunters coming in. And I said, tell you what, you can finish hunting this evening, even though you were trespassing. I said, I'll give you permission. Because I realized it was a blessing for me to be on that ranch. That ranch didn't belong to me, I was a steward of it. And that's how we need to go through life. You got $100 in your wallet, guess what? You're a steward of it. How are you spending that? Are you holding back? Are you giving the waitress a tip more than probably what she deserves? So much of this world is based on, I'll give you if you give me. And they've lost touch with the fact that God gives us every single thing that we need every single day. Just like the birds, they go out and they find the seeds that God planted the grass and scattered the seeds on the ground, and they just collect them. They're not going out and planting that grass and making it grow. And that's the way with life. Everything that we have is a gift. And someday we'll be judged about, oh, there's the dogs, I better holler at them. Hey, come here. They squeak like they found something, a squirrel or something. Oh, here they come. You know, I haven't always been kind. I haven't always been giving. In fact, in younger years, I was a little bit selfish. Or maybe a lot if I was telling the truth. But you know what love is? Love is giving without ever expecting anything in return. Love is giving even when you're slapped in the face. Even when people use you. I've had instances here lately where people went back on business deals that they had agreed on. And I just went along with it and said, okay, because I know that God is the one who takes care of me. And then 2 weeks later, the guy calls and says, is it all right? I'm giving this deal that I promised you to this other guy. Yeah. You know what? You just showed me how far I can trust you. But I'm not going to throw a fit about you going back on your word, because God is the one who takes care of me. He's the one that supplies every need. When I was in that hospital with my back broken, I had a lot of time to sit and think about how I couldn't even get up and go to the bathroom by myself. I couldn't brush my teeth, you know, hardly. Couldn't go get the toothbrush. I could brush my teeth, but I couldn't get up and go get it and get my tooth. I had to depend on other people for so much. And I became the kindest person in that hospital room. I became the most thankful person in that hospital room. It was always within me. It just brought it out. I said sorry to those nurses who had to deal with me. I know it's their job and I know they get paid, But I saw how they really didn't have to. They didn't have to put up with me, and yet they chose to. They chose that profession. God put it in their heart. I started seeing people in a different way than I'd ever seen. You could show me the most beautiful woman, and if her heart was black, that was the ugliest thing I'd ever seen in my life. And yet I saw those people who other people would say aren't that attractive. And I see their heart, I saw their heart. Man, that really changed something in me. To where you can show me somebody who is maybe not living a life up to the world standards. Maybe they've been beat down, maybe they've been hooked on drugs, but God has shown me how beautiful some of these people's hearts are. He's shown me through the lens that He sees through. And it's really opened my eyes. And you know, these walks that I take on the mountain and I get out, it's a time for me to reflect on my own life, to become better every day, to think about the week, forgive myself for the times that I fall short, and to talk with God. Thank Him for the ability to be able to put on a backpack and come up here. It took so many days for granted. So many times we do what we think others would want us to do, whether that's in sports and trying to make a name for ourselves, or whether it's in our job, getting degrees and going into debt and borrowing money to get diplomas to try to prove our worth. When you see through God's eyes how much you're really worth, no matter how many times you've failed, no matter how bad you think you screwed it up, to see His unconditional love, when you absolutely feel that love, like I did in that hospital, when I met myself and I met God, it changes you. You know how undeserving you are of His love. And yet at the same time, Sparky, I should have fed you so you wouldn't be eating gross things. Oh, these dogs. When you feel His love, you want to push Him away and say, I don't deserve you, please. Don't get so close. Because His love is so overwhelming. When I was in that hospital, there was this black nurse. Great big old joyful lady. And I saw her heart, and it was something I've never experienced before. God was just showing me, it's like the eyes of this body were cut off, and I was forced to see through the eyes of the Spirit and see people's spirits, how they really were. And I told her, I said, you are so beautiful. I was just telling her what I felt like God was saying. I just saw her through God's eyes. And she laughed, she said, honey, I think you're delusional. You think about that blonde nurse. Let me bring that blonde nurse back in here. I said, you know, it was not appearance. It was not appearance that I was seeing. And there was another young lady in there that was a new nurse, had all the degrees. God showed me her heart. She'd passed everything. She had worked for approval. She had gotten all of the education, but she did not see the person in that bed. She missed the forest for the trees. She did not see me at all. All she saw was facts, figures, numbers. And I asked the doctor, I said, if there's anybody else, I'd rather you send them in here. I don't want to be cantankerous, but I'd rather you send somebody else in here to take care of me. And he was shocked. He said, why? She's our best RN or whatever she was, whatever her title was. And it was hard for me to explain, but I saw her heart, and it was not good. And the more that time that you spend with God, the more time that you meditate on His scripture and not trying to be good in yourself, but letting Him do the work in you, letting Him change things in your life so that every single day you're better and better and better. You're what He created you to be to begin with, is the best way I can put it. What are you doing, Una? You a good dog? You know, I love these dogs. And they screw up all the time. They do stuff that, oh, they stink, or they get, I'm a chipmunk that's been dead for a week and decide it's a good snack. And that's the way God sees us. He loves us unconditionally. His love for us is overwhelming. It doesn't matter. Come here, Una. It doesn't matter what we've done. This is what He wants. He wants you to just snuggle up and to come and visit with Him. He's not going to beat you. He's not going to tear you down. Sparky! He absolutely loves you. What are you doing, Spark? Huh? What are you doing, Spark? Oh my goodness, are you a good dog too? This is a reflection of God's love. This isn't even close to what God's love is. This is just a mere reflection of God's love. You cannot even imagine God's love until you absolutely feel it. You guys have a good day. I'll stop here.